Good morning. New Year's coming, and New Year's resolution is also coming. You want to slim down, maybe that's a secret or declared desire for many of my patients, but unfortunately, majority of them will not be able to achieve it for two reasons. One, they will be following a wrong protocol, which is low fat protocol, which doesn't work. Some of them will be following a high exercise protocol, which will also not work. Some of them will follow let's not eat at all, like starve, and that will also not work because at some stage your willpower will go and it will go back. So what will work, that first of all, do not count calorie, it doesn't work long term. Second is that you must not stay hungry. You need to have a lot of food, but when you eat the food and what you eat is the most important. So you need to cut down your carbohydrate, and I tell carbohydrate comes in 4 stages. First, everybody knows anything that tastes sugary, cookies, ice creams, chocolates, etc. Then comes the so-called good carbohydrate, which is also sugary, which is also bad thing to have if you are trying to slim down more than little bit. Fruit juice, definitely no, because it doesn't have any benefit. It's a pure glass of sugar. Fruit, better than fruit juice, but even fruits, if taken excessively, can spike your insulin, and then it's very difficult to lose weight slash fat. It's not weight loss we are aiming, fat loss. So what you can eat a lot? Vegetables. The problem with the vegetables is that nobody wants to eat vegetable because it is bland, it doesn't taste, and sometimes it can really rough to eat. For an example, this probably you can eat raw. However, raw vegetable cause another problem. It makes you bloated. Sometimes it even cause the bowel not to move freely. It's not the problem with the vegetable per se. If you put it in the sink, it will block the sink, like it can block your bowel, particularly on the left hand side. Whereas if you puree it and then put it in the sink, pour it in the sink and turn the tap, it will not block. So it's a texture because we don't chew enough. So one way to circumvent this problem is to boil it, steam it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some of the vegetables, not the spinach, but the other vegetables, broccolis, mushrooms and pepper or capsicum, after chopping it up into this, and boiling water, which is there, and boiling, which is here. Put it for 2 minutes, blanch it, immediately cool it, and then fry it like this. Frying will break all the cell walls and it's easier to digest. Not for you, we do not digest this, but it is for the benefit of the bacteria. Now, my rule of thumb is that it has to be at least 3 different colors when you cook vegetables, and 3 different textures. So texture of this is different from this to different from this and different from this. Vegetables always soak in water. Okay, this has already been soaked, this is soaking, and then discard the water. Now complement with a good quality protein. I don't know, some of you might say, oh, this is extremely expensive, but I know some of these people who say this is expensive, they will spend on coffees in Costa, Starbucks, which is £3, sometimes £4 a cup, and they do it number of times per week, but invest in this. Now, all of this is rather bland. Coming from India, we are the master of spices, so we'll spice it up with chipotle. Yes, it is chipotle, not chipotle or whatever. Chipotle is a Mexican origin. It's basically smoke-dried jalapeno chilies. It gives a different flavor. Then I'm going to use I'm very lazy today, so red chilies, chopped garlic, and fried garlic. Now, complete the cooking medium: butter, ghee, and goose fat, and olive oil, and coconut oil. These are the good fat, rest are all bad fat. All the seed oil, sesame oil, mustard oil, rapeseed oil, use sparingly. Any seed oil will have omega-6, which is inflammatory, pro-inflammatory. So I'm going to fry this and blanch this and mix together. So what you need to do, you need to fry this a little bit. This is my chipotle, and I'm mixing the red chili, which doesn't have much flavor, but this smoked dried chipotle will have a flavor, and the garlic will give the flavor. So now I turn the heat down as low as possible, and then I add my fish. Remember, always the the soft side first, not this side first. Otherwise when you turn, it will break. So now it has been cooking for 1 minute. What you need to do, you need to shake it so that it doesn't stick. This is not a non-stick pan, but it is a very used pan. And see, this goes first to be blanched. This, you remember, you don't want it to be soggy. This needs to be still crunchy. Okay, so not too much. And the last to go is my mushroom, which is the softest. Okay, I will add the mushroom probably after 1 more minute. And this never blanch, never boil. Now these are not tender stem broccoli, so I had to cut out all the hard stems. Doesn't feel nice. However, you can make a green smoothie or something out of it, but I don't have that time. So I think it's time to turn. And when I turn, I'll be using 2 spoons, like 1 spoon on this side, 1 spoon to flip. And when I retire, I'm going to open a restaurant probably, and then I will make some instruments, devices which will be truly useful, because only those who cook knows what are the instruments, what are the gadgets you need. Anyway, so this goes back to the wherever they belong to, because another thing about cooking is that you need to tidy the space once you leave. So in terms of cooking, Mexico has given this chili called chipotle, whereas Indians have given this chili called naga. This is way more chili. So there is a score called a Scoville factor. In terms of Scoville factor, this is way more chillier than this. And what chili does, if you notice, that any country which is close to the tropics will be eating a lot more chili. Chili wakes you up, chili cools you down because chili makes you sweat. Chili activates sympathetic nervous system, which is the action system rather than calm down system. So this is kind of almost done. So see, the mushrooms are not actually soaked in boiling water, they're just steaming from it. This is done. Switch it off. And some of the fishes I turned, and rest I will turn because these are big fish, in a small pond. So I have heated some extra goose fat and put some chipotle to give it a flavor. Now my fish is done. What I'm going to do, I'm going to now put some this thing. You know what is this thing called? This is the softest. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep it like that, stir fry the vegetables to give it a flavor and mellow it down a bit, and then pour it on top of that, and then I'm going to steam it for 1 more minute. So here we go. Always flavor the oil. Never put anything with unflavored oil. Okay. Then I mixed it up. The one thing I haven't done yet is salt. The salt is very individual, and try to put less than more if you can, because it will make you thirsty unnecessary, particularly if you have got liver problem, kidney problem, then definitely it's a big no-no. So I have got to heat it up. It should be extremely hot, just for a little bit. Yeah. The moment you add salt, the food tends to be soggy, so it's already a bit soggy because of the parboiling, the heating up thingy. So I'm going to quickly add my salt, and here, and I think it's almost done. And finally you put it on top of that, spread it. So it's like harmony. So the main difference between Western music and Eastern music is Eastern classical is melodious, not harmonious, whereas Western music is orchestral, a lot of different instruments, a lot of different singer, and they're all harmonizing. Somebody is alto, soprano, singing high pitch, somebody is bass or tenor, singing low pitch. There are like thousands of musical instruments everywhere. So this is your very, so if you eat this, you don't want to eat carbohydrate. Although There's a lot of carbohydrate in there, but there's a good carbohydrate. So I was telling there are 4 levels of carbohydrate. First is sugary, second is good sugary, but still avoid it. Third is the worst kind of, probably after the first one, which is called white carb, which is potatoes, rice, flour, or anything made up of flour and rice, pasta, pizza, bread, chapatis, roti, everything. And finally, the so-called good carb, which is oats, breakfast cereal, also bad, because all of this will turn into pure sugar into your blood, and then the insulin will spike up to push the sugar away from the blood into liver, causing fatty liver, into the fat store, causing you to have more fat. And the problem is that insulin is telling body, store it, store it, store it. And body will store it. Body will never let it go, because insulin is telling you need to store it for future in case you go starving. So that's insulin job for millennium. And that's what insulin is doing. But eating frequently, eating carbohydrate is keeping your insulin level higher and higher and higher. And then you will never lose insulin, fat. And that's why you see patients who go on to insulin, it's so difficult for them to lose fat. Because we are basically treating numbers. Blood sugar goes up, we give metformin. That doesn't work, we use glycoside. That doesn't work, we use another one. And there's a lot of new generations coming. And insulin, none of this is actually treating the disease. It is just lowering the sugar and putting it into everywhere, causing more damage. High level of insulin is also damaging. So what to do? Cut it at the source. Cut down your carbohydrate from healthy 60%, which is rubbish. It is very unhealthy 60%, to cut down to 20%, 30%, half it. But the problem is the moment you half it, you will be hungry. So you need to eat this, more and more of this, yogurt, easier carbohydrate like lentil soup and stuff, and a lot of good fat. And good fat, remember, this is a cooking medium. You don't eat it per se, but the good fat you can eat per se are avocado, salmon, any wily fish, etc. Chicken is rather bland for that. It doesn't have any oil, not unless you cook it with the skin, etc. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. So this I call a true rainbow healthy low carb dish, and this should be your mainstay. At least 3 vegetables, 3 different colors, and cook it properly. Do not eat raw vegetables. It's not much different than this. Yes, some of the vitamins might be denatured, but that's not a big deal. You digest this way more with less bloating if you cook it like this. Have a lovely day. Make your resolution health-wise, mind-wise, finance-wise, your productivity-wise, your relationship-wise. I'm doing a workshop on 30th. If you want to join. It will be on Microsoft Teams, I think. Thank you. Have a lovely day.